Can I have my phone back? You're literally 5. Stop. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is my boyfriend Adric and my son John if you're new here, and my name is Rachel. I put a poll on my Facebook and on my Instagram for a story time to see what kind of story time you guys would want to see, and it was 50-50 for both, so I'm just gonna combine the two stories because his labor and delivery story is a lot shorter than my daughter's, so I will just do his pregnancy and his labor and delivery all together because that's what's freshest in my brain.
Or me.
Yeah,
well, I don't know. I was like, what?
No. So yeah, that's what's freshest in my brain because he's only 3 months old. So, when did we find out I was pregnant? September? Okay, so we found out I was pregnant in September. I think it was September 11th or September 12th or something like that. I used to have a picture, but I know I deleted it, so I can't even pop it up. We were dating for how many months when we found out? 2 months? Okay, so we've dated previously in high school, but we had just started dating again, and we had been dating for about 2 months when we found out I was pregnant. I found out really early. I found out when I was like 2 weeks pregnant. Yeah? 2 weeks? 3 weeks pregnant? I'm asking you because I don't remember everything.
No shit either. I'm just trying to act like I remember.
Okay. So I found out when I was like 2 or 3 weeks pregnant that I was pregnant. My mom, the day I found out, was on her way to Mexico with my stepdad. So I called her right away and let her know. She was super excited. Adric was really scared to tell his parents, so guys, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, but that wasn't my call, that was his call, so. Yeah, so the first like 4 or 5 months of my pregnancy was super uneventful, just a normal pregnancy, whatever. It was only a year and a half after I had my daughter. Or no, my daughter was 8 months.
9 months.
9 months. My daughter, no, 11 months.
10. She was 8, and then 2 months after she was...
September.
Yes, she would have been 10.
October, November, 10 months. Okay, my daughter was 10 months old when I found out I was pregnant. And so that was super stressful for me. I was really upset. Adric was really excited.
Look at this. How could you not be excited?
But I was really super upset, and it took me a long time to cope with the fact that I was pregnant again, because I was pregnant the first time at 17 and pregnant again at 18 years old. So, yeah, I was super nervous, super scared, not necessarily for the pregnancy, but just for the aftermath. Oh my god, he's so cute. Okay. But, you know, obviously everything's okay now. He's adorable. I love him to bits and pieces. But, yeah, so with my daughter, if you guys don't know me, you won't know this. With my daughter, I got super sick with preeclampsia. I'll put the word up here. You can look it up if you don't know what it is. I'm not going to spend time explaining it because this video is already going to be super long. Anyways, I got sick with that at 7 months, I want to say, with my daughter, maybe 6 months with my daughter. So I got really, really sick by the time I was having her. So with him, I was told that I could get preeclampsia again, but it wasn't a for sure thing. So up until, I think, 7 months, do you think? Sorry, Adric's closing the window. Up until 7 months, huh? 7 months is when I started to get sick, or 8?
Like a month before you had John?
Yeah, okay, so like like end of the 7th month, I started to get sick. So my blood pressure was starting to skyrocket, and I was starting to experience a lot of swelling and a lot of...
My feet were really itchy.
Yeah, so that's a different thing. That's cholestasis. I'll also put that word up here, but that's a different thing that I also had with my daughter. But yeah, so I started to get both the things I had with my daughter with this pregnancy also, which slowly, it can become super dangerous if you don't take care of it. So I was seeing a specialist in Kamloops because I had already planned to have a C-section instead of trying to do a vaginal birth, because I had a C-section with my daughter. And they do give you the option. So if you have had a C-section before, you can attempt to do a vaginal birth with your other kids, but they make it up to you. So if you don't want to try to do that, you don't have to. So I obviously chose the C-section. I did not want to. I did not want to try to do it again because I already tried with my daughter. It didn't work. So my daughter fell asleep on the couch watching our show. Yeah, so yeah, so I don't even remember what part I was at, guys. This is how bad this is. You know, they say you have pregnancy brain. I have mom brain. Like, I don't remember anything. What was I saying before you interrupted me? I'm gonna have to cut and I'm back after regrouping. Don't interrupt me. Okay, so yeah, so you could choose to have vaginal birth or attempt vaginal birth or to have a C-section. I obviously chose C-section. Okay, so I was seeing this specialist in Kamloops. His name is Dr. Treisman. He's amazing. If you're pregnant and you're trying to figure out what doctor you want, I suggest Dr. Treisman. He's awesome. But so I was following up with him, and because I chose to have a C-section, my date was already moved. So my actual original due date was June 1st. But the C-section was planned to be on May 29th originally. The original date was May 29th, right? Yeah. Okay. So the original date was May 29th that I was supposed to have my son. I was supposed to go in for surgery. But I started to get sick the last month, so he moved that date to May 16th. So when you have preeclampsia, basically at that point their only goal is to just make sure that the baby is fully developed before they take it out. So as long as it's not becoming life or death for you at that point, they really want to push your body until you absolutely cannot go on. So my blood pressure was slowly skyrocketing, and I was slowly gaining a crap ton of weight. Usually people gain 20 to 30 pounds. I end up gaining way more than that because I get sick every time. So my body retains absolutely all of my fluids. So yeah, so they moved.
Bless you.
So they moved the C-section to May 16th, and that was the set date. After that happened, I think that happened probably the beginning of May, I was told that it was going to be moved to the 16th, and right after that everything slowly went downhill. So I slowly was starting.
I slowly get it sick.
He's so mean to me, guys. This is why I like to film.
It.
He's so mean to me. Okay, anyways. So I slowly got more and more sick as the days and weeks moved on. The Dr. Treisman only saw me once every 3 weeks. So he wanted me to start being monitored daily via blood pressure. So my mom is a paramedic. Last time I said she drives an ambulance, she got really offended. I'm sorry, Mama. My mom is a paramedic. And so she has the tools and equipment to check that for me. So she would come over once a day and check my blood pressure. They put me on medication. What was the medication called, hun?
Baby aspirin?
No, not that one. That one was to prevent preeclampsia.
Which one are you talking about?
The blood pressure medication.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, I don't remember what it was called, but they put me on a blood pressure medication to take daily. Labetalol. Labetalol is what it was called. Okay, so they put me on that to take daily to lower my blood pressure. Which made it so if I got up too quickly, I was extremely dizzy, needed to sit down. It basically just made everything even more complicated than it already was for me. Pregnancy is already not glorious for me at all. So, yeah, so I was on 200 milligrams twice a day or something of labetalol, which is a lot. And my blood pressure was still overriding it, and it was still just getting worse and worse, which with preeclampsia, they're just trying to postpone it. They already know what's going to get worse. They're just trying to slow it down so that the baby can grow, basically. So my mom kept checking it, and eventually it got to the point where the labetalol was just not working, and I was just feeling worse and worse by the day. So I was in and out of Clearwater Hospital getting it checked, and then we would drive all the way to Kamloops because they would want me there to be monitored. We go all the way there, they would monitor the baby, they would monitor me, my blood pressure would subside because they'd pump me full of more labetalol, and they'd send me on my way. So we did this probably, how many times do you think we did this?
15.
We were probably in and out of the hospital probably about 10 times. But that's all the way to Kamloops. So if you don't live where I live, that's an hour and a half drive from where I live. So this was during weekdays, this was weekends, so this was not only taking up all of our weekend times, but it was making my boyfriend miss work also. So it was super frustrating that they wanted us to go all the way to Kamloops just to send us home, because it's a loss of time, it's a loss of money, etc., etc. Huh?
So you gotta be safe.
Yeah, but they want you to be safe, and they want to make sure that the baby is okay and the baby's not stressed out, and they want to make sure that you're not going to have a seizure, basically. So the night after, no, May 12th, I got extremely sick. My blood pressure was like it was like, what was it, hon? Like 160 over like, it was like 160 over 115 or 120 or something.
Yep.
And this is dangerous levels for when you're pregnant. So I was at risk for having a seizure, which is exactly what preeclampsia is. Eclampsia is when you're having seizures. So I was in the preeclamptic state, and I was at high risk for getting a seizure. So my mom checked my blood pressure, it was really high. I went to Clearwater Hospital to have it confirmed that it was that high, just because they have a machine. Instead, my mom just listens and like has the cuff. So I just wanted to double check that it was that high. Also, my mom didn't want to not be 100% sure and have something go on. So I went to Clearwater Hospital, I got it checked. They confirmed that it was high, but I was told that if it was high, that I needed to contact my surgeon. So I left Clearwater Hospital, which the doctor wasn't happy about, but I don't like being in Clearwater Hospital. I don't feel like they do everything properly. I don't feel safe or comfortable there. I don't feel like if anything serious happened to me that they would actually be able to help me. So I left there, I went home, and my boyfriend called Kamloops Hospital, and they wanted me in right away. But because my surgery was 4 days away, I did not want to drive all the way to Kamloops again and get sent home. I was like, if I go there, I want my C-section now. Like, if you're gonna do something about it, I'll come, but I don't want to just come to be checked and sent back home, because we'd already done that 1,000 times. I didn't want to do it anymore. Not to mention that we have a 1.5-year-old at the time, and we don't have time to be doing stuff like that. So, yeah. So it was a Sunday night. Yeah? You worked the next day. I'm pretty sure it was a Sunday. I don't know. He worked the next day, and the hospital was basically not gonna let me get off the phone unless I promised to come. They grabbed my number, they grabbed my boyfriend's number, and they asked me to confirm what time I think I would be there. So they needed me to come to Kamloops Hospital. Then they called back. The doctor called back that was working, Dr. I don't remember her name. She's a super nice lady, but she called from the Kamloops hospital, and she told me that she needed me to go to Clearwater. She needed me to get a bite and chew, which is basically just a pill that you bite and chew, and it tastes like crap, and it instantly is supposed to lower your blood pressure, so therefore decrease the chance of you having a seizure. So she didn't want me even going on the ride to Kamloops without taking this pill, because I could be at extreme risk and it could be super dangerous. So
You know what's funny?
what?
I just realized pre-eclampsia is like pre for like eclampsia, like it's pre.
Yes, eclampsia is when you're having seizures.
I was like, just realized that's why it's called pre-eclampsia.
Yeah,
Pre.
it's pre-eclampsia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, anyways, sorry. But yeah, so I had to go to Clearwater Hospital. So my mom took me there, my brother came. Shout out to you guys. They came with me because Adric had to stay home with Maya because Maya doesn't do well in hospitals, and I didn't know how long I was gonna be there for. So, and there's still no confirmation I was gonna be having this baby right now. So we went to Clearwater Hospital. I got there at 8:30 at night, and they put me on a bunch of monitors. I was just getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse by the minutes, like worse and worse and worse. They put me on a bunch of medications, and that caused my heart to start beating very quickly. So my heart rate was like 150, I want to say, 150, 160, just laying there. I wasn't moving. I was taking deep, calm breaths. Like, there's no reason my heart rate should be that high. So I started to sweat. I got a really bad headache. And basically they got really panicked, and they don't really have anything that they can do for me there. Like, I was supposed to come in there, take a bite and chew, and be on my way, but they don't actually have bite and chew in Clearwater Hospital. So they had to give me something that's like it, but in an IV. So that takes way longer. Now they've got to give me an IV, they've got to let it go into my system, and so on and so on and so on. So it was taking forever. I think we left Clearwater Hospital. By the time they got my heart under control, and got me onto a hospital bed and strapped to monitors to go into the ambulance, I think it was 2 a.m. I want to say 3 a.m.
2.
Yeah, probably like 2:30, because I think I got there at like 4 or something. But anyways, so yeah, so I was strapped into the ambulance. My mom and my brother just followed the ambulance into Kamloops. There was still no confirmation I was going to be having this baby today. By now it was May 13th, the day after Mother's Day, my son's birthday. And we got to Kamloops, and they did a few tests, took my blood, whatever, and by then I was officially diagnosed with preeclampsia. So I was in the beginning stages all through of this, and that night I officially became preeclamptic. I was officially at risk. So when they calmed my heart down and they saw on the monitors that baby was doing well, they decided that now was the time to operate. They didn't want to wait any longer. So that was at 4:40, I want to say, by the time they decided that. Adric had passed out with Maya because they were home, and he was stressed out and worried and exhausted, so they fell asleep. I did try calling him, but he didn't wake up. So yeah, the doctor wanted to operate right then and there, so I ended up having my son at 6:23 a.m. so only like 2 hours, a little bit less than 2 hours after I actually arrived at the hospital. My mom came in with me. I can insert some pictures of the C-section here. If you get really squeamish, skip this part. I'll put in a time right here where it's done, but I'll put the C-section pictures here for you guys. My boyfriend's so gross though. Okay, anyways.
I'm not grossed out, I just don't think other people want to see that.
Lots of people want to see stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anyways. Yeah, I'll put pictures of the C-section and my son after he was born somewhere on the screen over here. But yeah, so shortly after I was rolled into recovery, Adric showed up and met his son. I'll insert another picture of him holding his son. But yeah, so that was my like pregnancy story, I guess, along with my C-section story. I don't know. If you want to know more specifically about C-sections, let me know and I can just give you like a full detailed how that situation works. They basically give you like a epidural, but it's called a spinal, and it's like a really thin long needle, and they have to put it in multiple times in multiple directions to make sure that you're completely numb. And then basically from here down, you can't feel a single thing. So that lasts for a bit, and as it wears off, I got itchy. Not everybody gets itchy. Some people get the shakes. I also got that. I got really cold, but I get really itchy for
24 hours.
I was really itchy. Like, I made him scratch me till I bled. Like, I was extremely itchy. But yeah, so that's just how my body reacts to the medication. But yeah, so my son came out at 6 pounds, 11 ounces at 6:23 a.m. on May 13th. And yeah, I mean, pregnancy is not going to be that terrible for everybody. Some people may have it worse. I'm not saying mine is the worst that it could possibly be, but I don't have a good time being pregnant. Yeah, pregnancy is just not fun for me. I know lots of people have glorious pregnancies where nothing goes wrong. They feel amazing the whole time. And you know what? Props to you. Like, that's awesome. But I feel like crap my whole pregnancy. And literally the only good part is my children. I love my children so much, but I hate every other part of pregnancy. So
Why don't you tell them what you told me after you were done being pregnant?
what?
Well, the whole time that I was pregnant.
Oh yeah, the hormones. I don't know. I think girls already know that you're hormonal, right? Like, pregnancy
Yeah,
sucks.
But you can tell them what you said to me.
Okay, so
I'm being the most sweetest person this whole entire pregnancy, helping her through everything, making her food, fucking scratching her every fucking 10 minutes. Yeah, sure, I get annoyed, but you were crazy.
I was great.
Yeah, and I'm grateful for what you did, but I helped out so much and was so caring. And at the end of the pregnancy, we're sitting there on the couch. She's holding John, I'm holding Maya. She's like, you know what? That whole pregnancy, I loved you. Don't get me wrong, I loved you, but I hated you. And I was like, wow.
I hated him. Like, guys, I hate everyone when I'm pregnant. Like, if Haley's watching this, girl, I didn't hang out with you because I was pregnant as shit. Like, I hate everybody.
Hated you.
No, I hate
Yep.
everybody when I'm pregnant. Like, I don't want to see anybody. I feel like a fat whale. I feel disgusting. I feel uncomfortable. I feel tired. I feel gross in general.
She
Like,
was
I don't...
beautiful.
Thanks, babe. Like, I don't want to see anybody. I feel absolutely gross. I'm growing uncontrollably because I'm sick. So that's not fun for me. You know, it's not fun to see someone you haven't seen in 3 weeks and be 35 pounds heavier. You know, that's just not. Huh?
No.
What?
I said I saw you every day.
Yeah, what's your point? What are you trying to say?
That you still hated me.
Yeah. I hate everybody when I'm pregnant, guys. Don't take it personally. I don't like anybody.
Oh, I took it personally.
Yeah, if you guys have any interesting stories about your pregnancies, you can message me on my social medias, or if you have any questions, you can message me on my social medias, or comment down below if you don't mind it being public. Yeah, I think that's it. Do you have anything else to say?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, well, that's it then.